Welcome to the Gaudium et Spes podcast. Every other week, we bring you Catholic teachings and stories of faith from people throughout the Diocese of Pensacola-Tallahassee. This is the Gaudium et Spes podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to our latest episode of the Gaudium et Spes podcast. As a quick reminder, please listen to the last episode with Bishop Walk, where he talks about the wisdom literature. Chez, I'm so excited to be here today because we have two of our seminarians with us.
This is cool. Welcome, Aaron Slayback and Peter Jutras.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Good to be here with you guys. We are blessed, guys, with an amazing crop of seminarians. We managed to get two of them to sneak away, drive 13 hours, and come to the studio for a little time. So we're really pleased to hear about your vocations, your life in the seminary, and all that good stuff.
Glad to be here. Excited, actually, to talk about seminary life and just also be back in the diocese. It's always good to be back home.
Yeah, out of exile from down south. Well, guys, as always, we start out our podcast with the first line of that great document, which our podcast is named after, Gaudium et Spes 1, which, if I can remember it, goes, "The joys and the hopes, the griefs and anxieties of the men of this age, especially those who are poor or in any way afflicted, these are the joys and the hopes, the griefs and anxieties of the followers of Christ." So, Aaron, you're the lucky draw here.
Oh.
What are the joys, hopes, griefs, and anxieties in your life right now?
Right now, some of the joys, is, as kind of alluded, was coming back here, but also, just finishing up my first year, kind of in awe and wonder of like, wow, this is happening, and it's coming closer now every year, and so, but just finishing it up and just realizing, hey, this was cool. There were some struggles along the way, and then just kind of remembering that. In fact, when we get back, we still have the wonderful homework. Yes, we have homework in seminary. So, and just trying to get through that, but before the end of the semester and everything, all the projects. So just having that on my mind, and hopefully not dropping any candles during Mass this week. That's always
all right. The life of a seminarian, worrying about the details, man.
That's right.
Cool.
That's right.
Peter, what's up in your life?
Yeah, it's been really good. Being back in the diocese is fantastic. It's so good to be, because this is why, we're here, is because we fell in love with the Diocese of Pensacola-Tallahassee, and we want to serve and bring Jesus to them. So it's so good to be back. It's so nice to be back for Holy Week, for Easter, for a little while. It's really great. Some of the struggles, for sure. It's been it's tough being so far away. Is always the biggest struggle. I started seminary. This is my fourth year. My first 2 years were in Miami, and that was it was a whole different world. It was crazy just being in Miami, just that very just different culture from growing up in the Panhandle. So being there was very different and very difficult, just kind of going from just being away. So it's really good being back, and it's so nice being here again.
Have you started drinking cafecitos 4 times a day?
No, actually, I don't do coffee. No coffee.
Well, it's very countercultural for them.
It really is. I've seen so many. They have cafecito machine at the.
Yeah, we have a not cafecito machine, a special machine. And so everybody else except for Peter apparently drinks espressos and does their midday shot of, I need to stay awake. Yeah. Not because anything's boring or anything. It's just there's a lot to do.
Yeah, so much. Yeah, we have classes all morning long. So but I stay away from the cafecito. So keep it just water and soda. That's it.
Susanne, what's up with you?
Well, gosh, it was so great having family home for Easter and spending time together. I really, really enjoyed that. We have our little family traditions that even though the kids are older now, I still love to do. We hide baskets and they hunt for Easter eggs and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah. So it's great to keep up family traditions no matter what. So,
Bunny cake?
Bunny cake, absolutely. Yes, with the 7-minute frosting and the coconut on top and everything, for sure. Yes. And we had prom.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
Whoa.
My daughter, junior prom. So.
And the date survived meeting you and your husband?
Well, she's been dating this young man for about 7 months now. So, yes, he's great. The two of them were just had the time of their lives and all their friends together, and it was just a wonderful experience. So how about you? What's been going on?
I mean, general stuff. Yeah, Easter season's wonderful. Having Aaron and Peter here reminds me of just being grateful for just some local dads and other guys that I meet with every 2 weeks or so. We make sure we have 2.5, 3 hours of conversation together. After the kids are all in bed, we meet somewhere. And yeah, just that sense of fraternity. Just been grateful for it, especially recently going through people have been going through transitions and pregnancies and job anxieties, all these sorts of things. It's kind of a healthy blend of some of us work for the church, some of us don't work for the church. So, yeah, just very grateful for that brotherhood. Brings a lot of joy, a lot of anxiety processing that we get to do together and pray night prayer together every once in a while. Used to be more consistent, but yeah. So just very grateful for that little piece of joy in my life. And you guys being here reminds me of that. So, well, cool. Well, guys, as we said, we are here to get a glimpse into the life of a seminarian and also kind of hear the vocation stories of how you came to make this monumental decision to, not just go to the seminary, but even for us in this diocese, live pretty far away from home, still in our state, but a totally different part of the state and stuff. So, Peter, maybe we'll start with you, just kind of hearing your faith journey. What led you to this moment of saying yes to this discernment process? So since I was little, I was born in Virginia. We moved to Orlando when I was 5, and I remember being at Mass one day, and the priest, he was pounding on the ambo. He was saying, "We need more priests in our diocese," and I don't remember who it was. I don't know where. I think we're at probably Holy Family in Orlando, and I remember sitting there as a kid being like, okay, I'll be Pope Peter II. I was like, yeah, I can do that easy. And I was like, no, absolutely not. But I remember just being so small, like that was the instant go. It's like, okay, I'll do that. And seeing the altar servers, even before that, seeing the altar servers serving, I wanted to be up there. I wanted to be doing that. And there was this draw. So from when I was very little, wanting to do that. And growing up, as I was like, okay, obviously I don't want to be Pope. I don't want to be a priest. I'm going to join the military. I'm going to work with TV. I'm going to do radio, be an actor. I'll do military, all this stuff. Like I could do all these other things. Mm-hmm. In the back of my mind, there was always that one that you could be a priest. You could be a priest. You could be a priest. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so all through middle school, through high school, at the end of high school, I almost joined seminary. I was debating it, and I was like, well, I could go to seminary, but I didn't want to. So I was like, well, I'll go through college. If I want to go into seminary, like I want to bring something in. I want to have something. I want to have a degree. I don't want to just show up and hope for the best. Like I want to have something that I can contribute, something extra I can bring. So, and that was more of an excuse at the time, but now, best decision of my life, going to college. I went to the University of West Florida. I made some amazing friends. The campus ministry at Nativity of Our Lord was fantastic, and it was really, really just foundational for me growing up. And by the end of college, it was still that voice was still there. Maybe you can go to seminary. Maybe you could be a priest. Mm-hmm. And I realized that at the end, I was like, okay, if I graduate from college now, if I don't go to seminary now, like I'm going to be questioning this the rest of my life. Right. Like this is always that voice is still going to be back there for whatever I do. Mm-hmm. So I might as well, I'll go in now. I'll do 2-3 years of Jesus boot camp. And then I'll be like, no, not for me. And I'll leave. And I'll be right back to where I started when I graduated. So nothing will have changed. So, but I've been in for 4 years. It's been the time of my life. God has given me so much consolation, so much joy. Aww. It's been so much fun. Oh my goodness. It's been amazing. It's been such a great time. And I can't see myself doing anything else right now than doing this. So It's been fantastic.
That's incredible. Well, Aaron, your story is a little different though, isn't it?
It is. It is. It has a little more years added to it. It's going to sound a little familiar, then it's going to diverge into the beaten path. And so when I was younger, I did start feeling the draw to the priesthood. And it really was when I started going through my First Communion prep that I really started diving into the Mass, as every First Communicant does, right? And, I would have this longing of wanting to be the priest. I was one of those kids that used to play priest at home, so that was always fun. And then I got into I got my First Communion, got into being an altar server. And just growing up being altar serving and just being there and just being able to be a part of the Mass and be there and be that close to Jesus was actually really cool. So it was like a two for one thing. It's like I got to be close to Jesus and I got to serve him. So that was really cool. And so it just grew from there. Like I got to learn all the different things and become like the lead and start mentoring younger guys, which was really, really fun too. But then I entered middle school and found a love and a passion for music, which was actually kind of funny because it was like I didn't have any love for passion, but my friend was joining band, and so I was like, yeah, let's go join band. Seems like a cool thing to do, right? So I did, and then I just fell in love with that. And so by 10th grade, year after I got confirmed, I had this pull for both directions. And so it was the first time I had to actually do the big word discernment.
Scary.
It's a scary word because I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know, but I'm still here. But it was an interesting thing because it's easy, reflecting back on it, it's easy to see how much discernment isn't God really saying, like pushing you in a direction. It's you listening to him. And if you don't listen to him, you will take control and drive, which is what I did. And so I drove to Troy University and got my bachelor's in music education, instrumental, so I could teach band and be out there. During that time, I was probably not the best Catholic. In fact, I went to the Catholic Church a couple times at Troy at the time and did not feel at home at all. And so I was like one of those guys like, I don't feel Jesus, so I'm going to leave. Don't do that. But the good thing is he never leaves. So he never left me. And I always had this longing in my mind of something more when I was going through that. And so it took me at the end of my college career to kind of like come back to the church. And when I did that, it was a very powerful moment for me. And so I started helping out with youth ministry at St. Columba in Dothan, which is my home parish, and got in contact with somebody you might know, Father Doug Martin now. Mm-hmm. He was the youth minister at the time in DRE, who is now a priest at St. Mary's in Fort Walton Beach.
And the most rabid Alabama fan in the history of priests. He is clear Auburn fans.
Yes. And anybody that, he's fun. he's a semi-Troy fan. He doesn't want to admit it, so I'm going to call him out on that. But so I helped out with that and just found this longing for ministry and really connecting with ministry. So I moved from there to Holy Name of Jesus in Niceville, Florida, where I was the youth minister for 7 years there, and God just expanded my heart and expanded my my faith and my understanding of who I am and who He is. And we discerned together that time. And it was after Father Doug got ordained that really felt the urge of, hey, you probably need to do this now. And so I contacted Father Tim, and here I am. Wow. Almost 2 years later.
Amazing. In the midst of ministry, just real quick, was that kind of a big catalyst in the priesthood as a future type of thing, being involved in that kind of a life? I think so. I as reflecting back on it, I think that was a very big push. It was between that and my mentorship with Father Doug. It was the doing and the knowing and being combined with that understanding. We're just going through some different gifts of the Holy Spirit there, aren't we? But yeah, I mean, I think ministry like really drew out the servant's heart in me and really drew out the Father that Jesus is calling me to be. And understanding of that and what's that and how does that look in my life, and there was a point it was like, okay, do I go further in youth ministry? Do I go to the diocesan ministry? What do I do? Do I go to a bigger parish, so on, or a different diocese altogether? Or do I take this leap of faith? And it was actually kind of funny because it's like whenever I sat down and thought about it, the first time I actually sat down and thought about the decision, it was easier to make a decision then than it was in high school because it was like, for me, it was a no-brainer. It was like, oh, well, I'll just enter and go to seminary. Yeah, that seems like a great idea. But then it was like, no, just pray about it. I was like, okay, I'll pray about it. So we prayed. But yeah, I think ministry definitely helped, and being in seminary now, it's helping me piece things together and understand different things and different realities.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah. So, Peter, I'm sure so many of our viewers are curious. What is it like in the day of the life of a seminarian? You know, does it vary depending on the year that you're in? Is it pretty consistent? So, kind of tell us what your day is like, what your typical day is like.
Absolutely. I was just the other day, I went to, after the Chrism Mass, actually, I went to St. Paul's, and I was able to go through some of the classrooms and talk to some of the teachers. I worked there throughout college as a maintenance guy.
Okay, cool.
And doing that, and I got to know a lot of the teachers. And in the 4th grade classroom, I went in there, said hi to Miss Saint Amant, and and one of the first questions one of the kids asked is like, so what is an average life in the day of a seminarian? I was like, a 4th grader's asking me this very question. I was like, wow, this is crazy. But yeah, so it's the day in the life of a seminarian is it's pretty fun. We get up on average. So I guess there's 2 tracks that you're on. You have the philosophy, which is if you haven't gone to college, it's your first 4 years of seminary. If you have, it's 2 years. So you're in the philosophy track now. And then the theology track, which is the next 4 years with a pastoral year in the center. And what for all of us together, we'll start with morning prayer and mass in the morning. We get up at 6:45. We got to be in the chapel, so it's not too bad. But we'll be in there, morning prayer, mass. We'll have breakfast, and then we'll go for the next from 8:15 all the way till lunch. We'll be having classes in hour bunches. So maybe your class will be 2 hours. Maybe you'll have a 3-hour class on Monday. But it'll be that you'll have classes in the morning. We'll do lunch in the afternoon, and then some classes in the afternoon. But not normally that time is reserved for studying, for resting, for you got to run errands. You do that. And then we'll end the day with, at 5:45, we'll have evening prayer together, and we'll go to dinner. And we'll have dinner at the refectory, their cafeteria there. Okay. And then the evening is, if there's conferences, I know music meets on Wednesdays, a Scola, and they'll practice after dinner. Different groups meet up and have different stuff going on. But that's an average day for a weekday. We'll be doing classes just like in college, but so it's a lot like college, but with a lot more prayer. A lot more prayer.
I was going to ask, you guys both have the perspective of having been at a 4-year bachelor's program and stuff. Does it feel like, oh my gosh, here I go all over again back in school, or is it pretty different?
Yes and no. Yes to all those questions. For me, it definitely has the same feel, but it also is different. I feel like at least in my 4-year, when I went to Troy, like there was a constant battling with each other, trying to do better, trying to be the best, and trying to do that. While we're still trying to accomplish, doing our best work, it's no longer, am I better than my fellow brother? It's how can we help each other, and where can we go with that? There is schoolwork, there's homework, there are papers, there are projects that you still do, but again, they're framed differently, not necessarily to just, okay, we're going to make you do busy work, but to help you start forming your mind into thinking how a priest would think, into thinking how do you engage this from a philosopher's point of view, how do you engage the world as a philosopher, and then how do you engage that in theology? How does philosophy feed into theology, and vice versa?
Yeah, and on that, on your note, because that was a very competitive atmosphere you were in, and mine, I studied telecommunications and film, so like TV news and doing that type of stuff. So a lot of my projects in college were very group related. So we were putting together a package for news. We were doing stuff in a group. So for me, the transition from UWF to seminary was pretty smooth. And of course I've been in school consecutively for most of my life. So it was very natural. And at first it was very similar. So it was just the prayer that was different. So it felt, because what's great about the formators is, at least now, I don't know about philosophy, now for us in theology, it's not, they recognize that we're doing a lot of stuff. We have formation going on. We're not just there for their class. Like in college, it's like my class, each professor, my class is the most important class you have to take. So at seminary, they're very understanding that, okay, these guys have, they're doing formation, they have spiritual direction, they're trying to figure out who they are, right, and finding themselves in Christ, and along with all of these other classes that they have to take. Wow. So they make sure that they balance the workload, so that's not like we have 10 papers due 1 week that they're able to. It's a lot. So compared to college work, I was like, wow, this isn't as bad.
Yeah.
But then once you add on all the prayers that we're doing, the time away, you only get little chunks of time to work on things. That's when it gets difficult, and things can start piling up if you're not careful.
Yeah, and I think like the pre-theology program is a little more geared towards what college would be,
Right.
And as far as like coursework work and just getting you adapted to seminary life and understanding of that, and so it's a little bit more intense at some instances than maybe the theologians are experiencing, but in a different way, because even the theologians have like their intensity every so often. So like it's an interesting dynamic on the campus, because it's like for a couple weeks you'll have the pre-theologians going, oh, I gotta get this done, and then you have the theologians going, I gotta get this done. And it's like it just kind of ebbs and flows, and so it's if you sit back, you just kind of laugh and you're like, oh, here's the ebb, here's the flow, and this is when it's going to happen, kind of thing. But yeah, so that's kind of the difference between the two, at least from here.
Yeah, so very similar. At first, definitely the college, it feels a lot like college, but just not as strenuous.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you mentioned your familiarity in the past with working with groups and collaborating. So what is the camaraderie like there at the seminary, and how many seminarians are with you? How many students do you have? And kind of talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. The seminary currently on campus, we have about 85, 86 guys around that. Yeah. And then the guys who are on pastoral year, who are taking that internship year in their diocese, that they number to about 15, 20. So we have about, plus we have Redemptoris, Mater, the Neo-Catechumenal Way seminarians. So we have about 120-ish seminarians that'll be attending classes or that are enrolled at the seminary itself. So there's a lot of guys there, and it's really awesome. It's really so cool having guys and it's not just from Florida. We get guys from Georgia, we get guys from the Carolinas, we get guys from Texas, we got from all over the place there. Yeah. We have men. So it's really fantastic, and that camaraderie is because as you enter in, right, we have these two different tracks that you're on, and each class in that is you take all of your classes pretty much together. Okay. So since I entered seminary, I've been with the same 15, 20, 30 guys. As guys have discerned out and left, it's gotten smaller, but we've been with the same group of guys so I know very good friends with guys from the St. Augustine Diocese, from Miami. We know where we're at from Orlando. We've been doing all this stuff together, all these classes, and there is this great brotherhood there. Nice. that is fantastic.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's the one like staple that I'm really enjoying, is the brotherhood and not being out there on an oasis by yourself trying to go through this, because you just be able to build bonds, and just for me the coolest thing is like being authentic with each other, and we're not having to worry about like hiding or anything, because we're competing, back to that competing thing, but we can just be who we are and who God is calling us to be, and it's okay, and that's a relief. And the formators are fantastic about just wanting to be authentic with us and us with them, so it's a very safe place for us to be and for us to explore our vocation freely. Wow. And that's a beautiful thing. Whenever you're doing something, as you say, monumental, it's good to have those free moments to be able to, okay, I need to go pray now, or hey, I need somebody to talk to about this, or is this really what I'm supposed to be doing, kind of thing, So it's good to have those conversations. And again, the faculty and they bring in speakers to help us in this process too, and different things. So we have different conferences to help the house go through this as we're experiencing stuff together. So it's a whole dynamic. It's a whole great dynamic.
Yeah, every Wednesday we'll have there's a set slot. We'll have 2 hours of classes in the morning, and then a formation conference. So either the rector will come up and give us a presentation. We'll bring in guest speakers that come in and just talk about spiritual formation and human formation and these different levels of stuff. Just as that we can't cover everything in class. Mm-hmm. So it's adding on what else we need to know and learn. So it's really, really good. And that camaraderie also, especially with our diocese. So because our guys, Pensacola-Tallahassee, we have there's 8 of us down in Boynton Beach.
Plus Monsignor Basso.
Minus Monsignor Basso soon. He's going to be retiring this year. And so, but having going there and having brothers there, and knowing that every week we meet up as a diocese. Every Thursday night we'll get together in Monsignor Basso's room, and we'll pray together.
Wow.
We'll pray night prayer. We pray. We then go around the room, and what's been really beautiful is just praying for those people who have been supporting us, who have been praying for us, who were instrumental in our vocations, and for those people in our lives that need prayer. So we'll go around, all of us, all 8 of us, and we'll be praying. It's like, I'm praying for this parish, for St. Paul's Parish, for Nativity of Our Lord, for St. Sylvester's. Pray for these priests. Pray for my sister, my dad, and just all together we lift up them at the end of the night in prayer. We'll pray the St. Michael prayer, patron of our diocese, St. Michael the Archangel. And it really builds this brotherhood, and it gives us this sense of home that's so easily, like, if you're not paying attention, you could lose that, right? Because you're just so far away. But we have this taste of Pensacola-Tallahassee there, and it's so wonderful. It's amazing.
I've heard over the years from guys who've been in seminary, discerned out, or gone all the way to the priesthood from other dioceses, that our diocese is among the choice. Like, people are like, if I could move to one diocese, it would probably be Pensacola-Tallahassee, because they see this in a way that, not that the other dioceses don't have a camaraderie or spirit and stuff like that, but ours has, at least for a while, been known as that kind of core, solid group of.
Absolutely, and it's cool seeing that. And so that what we do is we call it Dio Night, so Diocese Night, and how Pensacola-Tallahassee, that was a big push of ours to start years ago, and now many dioceses they start doing that, right? They see this camaraderie, and they're like, we want this as well. So not that they're going to come and join us, jump ship to join us, but they're like, no, there's something good here, right? And that's what's so great about being in seminary, is that you see, you're learning from everybody else. And so I see guys from Miami doing stuff. I'm like, oh, wow, that's really good. I need to pick that up. I need to learn that. And so they take from us. And so now almost everyone's doing these Dio Nights. And it's a staple in seminary, just this fraternity, this bond. The Summer House started by Monsignor Crawford. And how over the summer the seminarians would get together, live together, do ministry together, pray together, cook for each other, just get to know who each other are. Because oftentimes guys would join seminary, and you'd show up at the seminary and like, oh, you're from my diocese? Oh, cool. That's nice to meet you. It's like, at least we know each other coming in. So now many other dioceses are doing this summer house program, and they're having they realize the good, and they see the good, and they're picking up on it, just like we pick up from others.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, and it's a great night. Also, I think the second most powerful night part of our Dio Nights is the food. we alternated between Chick-fil-A, which is God's chicken, as we all know, the holy chicken,
trademarked,
or this wonderful pizza place down that's called Danny's Pizza, and it's a phenomenal, like, New York style pizza place. But not to make anybody want any of that right now.
Yeah, we just get together, we share a meal, and just be with each other. And it's like, Pensacola-Tallahassee together. It's like, this is our family. These are going to be the brothers that we're going to be ministering with all together.
Yeah.
We've heard a lot of blessings, a lot of amazing things. It sounds like, if you're thinking about it, guys, this is the life for you. If you're out there, what are the anxieties? What are the things that kind of are the big challenges of seminary?
Sure. So the anxiety is this for me kind of thing? Because as cool as it sounds, and it is a great time, it's also not just like leisure time either. You're there for a purpose, and everybody knows we're there for a purpose, and that's a it's not a weight, but it's like, it's something that you have to completely think about. It's like, every year you have your final evaluation, and it's like, do I want to continue with this? Have I grown? Have I done what the Lord is calling me? Am I listening? Am I open? Am I still willing? And so there's some of that anxiety. For someone who's a little more seasoned, a little more older, and gap between college life and now seminary life, there's a little apprehension about jumping back into studies, back into academics, and like, okay, let's see if I can remember how to do this kind of thing. And so there's a little bit of apprehension there with that. But I mean, I think it's a great environment to. I will say this with those apprehensions for me personally, because I know Peter probably has some different ones. It's like I went in with those apprehensions, but I also it was peaceful and calming once I was there. Mm. So, I always like if you ever feel the call need, just like this longing for something. One of our Dio brothers has this very great phrase. I won't say who it is, but just send it, is what he says. Mm. Because at the end of the day, you're not contracted to be a priest if you're in the seminary. You're there to discern. Now, I'm not saying go there and be there for like a half semester and leave. I'm like, but discern. Talk with Father Tim. Talk with if everybody start discerning that and seeing if that's where it's going. There are going to be apprehensions. There are going to be things that come up, but as you're discerning that, the consolation will come if that's where you're supposed to go. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The anxieties are definitely there, and there's a lot of pressure because, well, first one of the big struggles I had just going in there was going from working, from being in campus ministry, from going around doing all these different things in college. I was going 1,000 miles an hour, mm-hmm. and then all of a sudden you get to seminary, and they're like, "All right, stop, sit." Pray and don't do anything. So what? It's like you just stop, just pray. That's it. And it was a shock. Like I had whiplash from just going because I was going so fast, and now it's like, all right, no, you need to stop. We need to pray, and you need to get to know Jesus. Right? This is time that you can just sit and pray. And I was like, well, I can altar serve. I can do all this stuff. And how about you have me do this? And it's like, no, you're new here. You just got here. Like let's figure out how things work here. Relax, and so that was a big struggle for me going in, was this sudden change mm-hmm. of just culture, right? I had to detox from the world mm-hmm. to now enter into the seminary where it's like, okay, I need to get some equilibrium here. So that was a big struggle for me going in, but now it's there is a lot of pressure. It can become, once you're in, then it can be very easily become like a fishbowl because the rest of the world is doing what they're doing, but you're here. You're in this. You're working here. You're studying here. This is kind of your life, mm-hmm. and all the problems of life are stripped away at seminary, mm-hmm. which is amazing. I don't have to worry about room and board. I don't have to worry about working. Sure. I have everything's taken care of. We have 3 meals a day. We're fed very, very well. Very well. The food is fantastic.
We have a trained French pastry chef on staff. Not to gloat or anything.
It's very St. Vincent's Paul does a fantastic job with food. It's wonderful. But so there's no problems. Mm-hmm. Like we're really, and we sit and pray and talk about Jesus every day. Yeah. Wow. Like we're living in paradise. Mm-hmm. It's great. And because of that, everything is stripped away so that all you're left with is yourself and your imperfections and your anxieties and your you. And that's what seminary is for, is to start whittling that down, to start working on that, to bring this stuff up so then you can grow and you can learn and you can follow Jesus closer and more closely. So it's tough. It's very tough because now all of a sudden these little things that wouldn't be a big deal outside of the seminary now become big deals. Mm-hmm. It's like, so it's very easy to kind of zoom in and be in this fishbowl and just like, here we are. This is crazy. I don't know what I'm doing. And you have to remember, you have to back up, get some perspective, be like, so that's why it's so good coming back to the diocese, because you can leave for a second and be like, oh, the stuff I'm worried about down there, it's not a big deal. Right. It's okay. At the end of the day, I'm here not because of any one person. I'm not here because of a bishop. I'm not here because of the Pope. I'm here because I love God and I love Jesus and I want to serve him with my whole life. And what that's going to entail, like everything else doesn't matter as long as I get to serve him fully with my whole life. And so these anxieties, they can get you and they can really start tearing you down. But as long as we can pull back and remember that focus, it's like, no, I love God and I'm here to serve him and his people. And I can't wait to do it. And as long as we have that focus and that's what we're reminded of, then the anxieties, that stuff, we're going to change and they're going to ebb and flow as you go through seminary. Good. But that's got to be the singular focus.
Good. Well, it sounds like both of you have had either a great mentor or mentors or other family members or friends that influenced you greatly to, to ultimately make the decision to say yes, that you wanted to go there. So what kind of advice would you give to those who are considering following in your footsteps and going down there and doing this? What would you say to them right now?
Pray. Seriously, if you haven't started trying to do adoration, find a place that has adoration and pray with God. Sit with Jesus, because ultimately that's who you're wanting to be with. Be around and be accompanying you through this process and through this understanding of what you're doing. But pray is the biggest thing that helps clear everything. I'm not going to say that you get 2x4s over your head saying, hey, this is what's going to happen, this is how you're going to do it. Although it could. God's power is unlimited. But it does give you it does order your heart to listen and to understand and to walk in that faith. So I would say pray, and then talk to the vocation director, Father Tim Halita, and give him a call, and talk to your pastor. Actually, probably first is what you need to do. I might be skipping a few steps here, but you can just go directly to the bishop. Be like, hey, I think I'm ready. No, talk to your pastor, because a lot of times the pastor is going to be excited that they might have a perspective, seminarian. So just talk to him about what do I need to do and get some guidance from him. And in the process, if it starts becoming more serious, seek out, if it's not your pastor, seek out a spiritual director to let you kind of wade through this as well.
Yeah, I'd say get close. Get close to the parish. So I'd say start altar serving. Find the altar server ministry. Talk to either your pastor or whoever's in charge of that. I want to altar serve. I want to be on the altar. I want to get close to what's going on. Start lecturing. So just being active in ministry in the parish is big, because that's, as a priest, that's what you're going to be doing. Is you're going to be doing ministry. You're going to be doing stuff. It's let's get a taste of that now, because if you get on the altar and you're like, all right, maybe not, maybe, or if you're in ministry, you're helping out somewhere, and with one of the ministries, you're like, oh, okay, maybe not, maybe this isn't what I'm called to do. That it's a good, I think that's a good first step. If there's maybe God wants me to do that, it's all right, ask to be an altar server, get trained and learn, and just be there and be present. And like Aaron said, praying is huge, but I think make sure that you're starting to be active now. So get on the altar, see what that's like, because it's a very different perspective than from anything else.
There are ample opportunities. I was in our diocese, we're blessed with the annual Discernment retreat over at the Newman Center, which I participated in back in 2007. I was this was a part of my discernment in which vocation I would go into, and it was so incredible. It was that time Father Michael Nixon, Father Tim Halita were seminarians. They came and presented. Father Joe Fowler was on there, gave some amazing talks. Bishop Ricard was there, and it was a really important time to kind of see, these would be my people. This would be kind of our lifestyle and stuff. Yeah. And then even the seminary, I don't know if they still do this, but I know St. John Vianney, I wanted a come and see weekend where I was able to go down and literally just be at the seminary for a weekend. And it was so helpful to kind of paint a picture. I don't know if they still do that.
Yeah. St. Vincent de Paul, they'll have some come and see weekends, but seminary over in Louisiana, they have St. one of those. Yeah, St. Joseph's over there. It does. They do a come and see. And Father Tim they brought a double-decker bus. This past year of a whole bunch of people over there, and not just for the seminary there. There's also a convent nearby, and so they had a few women. Go over.
There's a convent, and there's so St. Joseph's is on an abbey, a Benedictine abbey. So you get all three kind of perspectives. If anybody wants to be a priest, if anybody wants to think about the brothers there, or if they want to think about the convent to see. So it's a whole vocation thing.
So he took a whole bus over there to see. But the discernment retreats, when I was in high school, my senior year, I went on a discernment retreat, and I've been all through college. Every year in college, I went to one of those. By the end of it, I was like, they're just like Father Tim and Father Michael Nixon. They're like, hey, so Geutrus, we have I got the papers in the trunk over here. If you want to sign up. We've been waiting for you. Hurry it up.
Disclaimer, guys, you will get some kind of hey, what do you think? You want to sign the contract now? No, I'm just kidding. No,
well, and that's the thing about Father Tim. He's very patient and he's very open. But when he knows, he knows, and it's not that he's going to push you into it, but he's just going to be like, all right, man. It's been about a year. You doing this or what? And loving, and just not pushing you again. But he's like, I know you're for this, and you kind of know because we've talked, So, but yeah, you might get a.
Yeah, well, at that point, I had been doing it for, that was my 5th one. And so he's like, all right, Peter, come on. You're taking forever. We got to go. But it's, and yeah, so they do a very good job at Pensacola-Tallahassee, we pride ourselves in taking only the best of the best seminarians. We don't just take anybody.
As evidenced by our conversation today, only the best of the best.
Thank you.
I just wanted to, before we wrap, I wanted to ask, do you guys have like a priest hero in your mind? Like when you're thinking about what I'm going to be as a future priest, either as somebody you never met and it's like a big figure or kind of more local?
Well, I have 2. The first one is who I wanted to be my patron saint, but the rule said I couldn't be because he wasn't a saint at the time. But he's it anyway. Don't tell anybody. Oh wait, it's on. No, I'm just kidding. It's Saint Padre Pio.
Okay.
He is a model priest that I just want to emulate. Not necessarily the stigmata, but just his obedience, his love for Jesus, and just modeling that. And more closely, definitely, Father Doug Martin. He inspired me so much and just showed me not only what it takes to be a priest, but how much worth it is to go through the process that he went through, and that it's like, okay, if you can get through that process, I might be okay. and if you can get through it with having even more faith and more obedience to God, it's like, I think I can do that.
Yeah. I had, there's no one priest. I've growing up seeing the different priests in our diocese. It was like, I see parts of different priests. And I'm like, oh, I want to be just like that. And it was, like Father, whenever I hear Father, Michael Nixon, whenever I hear him preach, I'm like, I want to preach like that. Or whenever I see Father Kevin McEwen, his ministry and how he relates to people, talks to people, I'm like, yes, that's how I wish I want to be able to do that. Monsignor Crawford, just kind of his love and his care is just beautiful. And I want to see that. I want to do that. Father John LeCarry is just pastoralness. He's so just welcoming and loving. It's like, yes, and so these little things, it's like, yeah, I want to be like them. I want to be like that. But there's no one like, super priest. Bishop Walk, just, I guess he would be the one. He's just awesome. So
kind of an understood. It's kind of like a blanket. I want to be like Bishop Walk.
But yeah, so it's all these little things that I've picked up on. I was like, wow, it's like we just have so many great priests in our diocese that, and that camaraderie is a huge thing for me. That was going on these discernment retreats, sitting outside, smoking cigars during the discernment retreat. And being out there, I was like, wow, everyone's smoking cigars, they're hanging out, they're chilling. And then I go inside and people are arguing about an encyclical at the table. I was like, oh, that's crazy. And I go over here and they're watching sports. I was like, this is so much fun. Like, this is great. So, yeah, so I love it all. But yeah, no one priest as a hero for me.
Well, just have the best answer there, Peter. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm just going to not answer the question.
Just not answer the question.
That's all.
You got the last one, Bishop Walk. That's just, there you go.
He's the best. He's so good.
Wow.
Well, cool. This has been Susanne as married people.
Oh.
This is cool to hear.
It is. I mean, I'm so proud. I mean, this is incredible. Both of you. I mean, what an honor to be here with you today and to hear your story. And you're just so inspiring and uplifting. And I can't, I don't know, just praise you both enough. And I so look forward to you coming back to our diocese and on a more permanent basis and being here. And, because I think you're going to make a huge impact and just really change the lives of so many people. So thank you.
Thank you. No, it's so good. Like we've said multiple times, just being back in the diocese because we're around seminarians all the time. It's like, oh man, it's more seminarians. We're all here all the time. So it's so good to be with families again. And we only get one ministry that we're assigned because we're studying all the time. So like I'm teaching CCD to 4th and 5th graders.
We're doing outreach to the poor.
And so it's like we get that just once a week. We're doing this stuff. So being back in the diocese, being able to hang out with families again, it's like, it's so good. Being in a parish where it's like you hear babies crying and people moving around and noise. It's like, the church is breathing, the church is alive. Right. This is so good. Nice. The seminary is so quiet, which I'm sure sounds great to others. For me, it's like I miss.
Yeah, no,
it's like,
we need some crying every now and then, some babies or something. Just something. So it's been good.
So thank you so much for having us. This has been fantastic.
Yes, thank you.
Getting to know you guys and doing this. Thank you.
Thank you for that, and for all of you for your prayers and your support. Again, we make it sound like it's all fun and games. It and sometimes it is.
It is.
But there is some tough times, and we feel your prayers as we go through our struggles that we might have through that time. And so, just thank you all for your prayers, your support, your faith, and just being a great diocese. Continue doing what Pensacola-Tallahassee does. And just thank you for inviting us to be able to share with you guys.
We would be remiss if we did not. The support comes in the form of emotional support, prayerful support, but also monetary support. And if you go to ptdiocese.org/seminarian support, you'll see a couple ways. Probably the most famous way is the Burst Club, I would imagine. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Yeah. Where if you want to become kind of like a member that's donating a monthly amount that's supporting our seminarians, and there's also prayers that go along with that and a spiritual connection. But ptdiocese.org/seminarian support if you'd like to offer a little more direct help.
Absolutely. We don't, this diocese is so generous that we don't have to, like I said, we don't have to pay for our tuition or room and board. Other dioceses, the seminarians have to pay part of that. And so Pensacola-Tallahassee is very intentional. Like, we want you to spend your time there praying, really discerning to see where God is calling you. If he's calling you to this, to really give yourself fully to this. Yeah. So they make a big investment in us, and the Burst Club helps take care of a lot of that, and a lot of that stress of us not having to work and keeping that from us. So they take care of a lot of that. Right. So thank you so much.
Good. Well, stay tuned for our next episode where we will continue with Bishop Walk on his Bible series, and we'll be moving into the New Testament. Well, he'll be talking about the Gospels and Acts. So thank you.
Thank you for tuning in today to the Gaudium et Spes podcast. If you would like to know more about our podcast, please visit gaudiumετspes.net or go to ptdiocese.org and click the button that says podcast. If you listen to the audio version from an app such as iTunes, Stitcher, or Spotify, be sure and rate, review, and comment. If you watched us on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe or leave us a comment there as well. Thank you for joining us.